Hi everyone, welcome back. So far we've been digging into the subconscious, bringing your blueprint and beliefs to the surface so you can see what you're working with and begin to make change happen from the core. And while we're going through this process, a lot of feelings can come up. You might start digging through your childhood in a way you never have before, making connections between the way you were raised and the way you're raising your own kids, which can cause some hurt or sadness to come up that's been hidden for a while, or some excitement and relief at finally understanding something about yourself. You might feel a lot of cognitive dissonance, this discomfort that often comes from being confronted with something that doesn't match your existing blueprint, like trying to hold these two conflicting thoughts, feelings, or beliefs at the same time. The old and the new, the limiting and empowering, one way of thinking and another way of thinking. So allow yourself to be wherever you are at right now. Feel whatever you're feeling, just let it out. Listen to yourself. Understand yourself and have empathy for yourself. And empathy is what we're going to discuss today. So let me give you my definition of empathy. Empathy is seeing what's going on within a person with a desire to understand, an ability to relate, and an intention to create an environment where it's possible to feel heard, seen, accepted, and understood. Let me say that again. Empathy is seeing what's going on within a person with a desire to understand, an ability to relate, and an intention to create an environment where it's possible to feel heard, seen, accepted, and understood. So what does that look like? Well, it doesn't look like feeling sorry for someone or having pity. It doesn't mean you have to necessarily feel what another person is feeling or even agree with their feelings. It's all about holding a safe space for someone to just be, showing them that you get it, and oftentimes also validating that what they're feeling makes sense. So with yourself, look at the way you're talking in your own mind. Say you wake up sick, feeling awful, and you spend the day trying to rest, doing the bare minimum as much as you possibly can. And then you get to the end of the day and realize that you forgot to do that important thing that you promised you'd do today. What do you say to yourself? Gosh, you're so stupid. I can't believe you forgot. You promised this person you'd do that today. You didn't live up to your word. Now you're going to have to explain to them why it didn't get done. You should have written it down to remind yourself. You should have spent all day not have spent all day just being lazy and doing nothing. Now this person's going to think you're a liar or incompetent or can't be trusted to do what you say you'll do. You get the idea. We've all talked to ourselves this way, right? Beating ourselves up. And sometimes once we start, it's like we can't stop. We bring up all the ways we've ever done something less than perfect in the past and use that as further ammo to prove how horrible we are. What a way to live, right? So now, what if instead this was how you talk to yourself? Oh man, that's so frustrating. You obviously weren't planning to get sick today when you promised to do that. You had the best intentions and then you wake up feeling miserable and everything just gets thrown off. That really sucks. And that's super disappointing it happened that way. You're not feeling good, and it's okay to have an off day. You're human. You can just be honest about what happened. Tell that person that you're afraid of being seen as flaky, and see how you can make up for it. Also, take care of yourself. Your body needs you. If we talk to ourselves like we actually care, imagine how differently we would feel about ourselves. Imagine how our limiting beliefs could shift if we just work to change in our own heads the way we speak to and about ourselves. Then we talk about our blueprint being formed by the way we make sense of things. And really, empathy is a powerful way to help ourselves, our children, and anyone around us really, to develop the meaning that will be written into the subconscious. So picture this. Your young child is trying to help you set the table for dinner. She accidentally drops a glass and it shatters into pieces on the ground. You're startled and you might even feel irritated about the broken glass, about having to clean up the mess, or feeling like she should know how to be careful by now. And your child starts bawling. You might easily get caught up in your own thoughts about the matter and just react, yelling, maybe even speaking to her the way you'd speak to yourself. I can't believe you did that. Ugh, you're so clumsy. Thanks a lot. Just go in the other room. I don't want your help. How is she making sense of this situation? I messed up. I'm bad. I am a clumsy person. I'm not helpful. Now mom doesn't like me. Dad's angry and it's all my fault. Our reaction in those moments helps determine their meaning. So what does empathy do for meaning in a situation like that? Well, let's look at what's happening from her perspective. She was so excited to be helping you, feeling really proud of herself and connected to you. Then suddenly a glass slips out of her hands and crash. Not only is that scary, but now the whole mood has shifted because you're not happy and she is to blame. That connection is broken. And these moments are so powerful in shaping your child's blueprint because they're more emotionally charged. Big feelings, big potential for learning who I am and what life is all about. And empathy is a great tool for making that experience into a positive thing. This is your chance to help your child make sense of what just happened in a way that grows resilience instead of those limiting beliefs. So in this example, empathy and meaning making might look like this. So the glass falls to the ground and your child is crying and you say, "Oh no, that was surprising. Did it scare you? You were just trying to carry that glass to the table and all of a sudden it was on the ground in so many little pieces." You know, I've dropped things like that before. It can be scary and really sad to not have that glass to use anymore. But it happens sometimes. And now there's glass all over the floor. How about we clean it up together? And then we can practice carrying another glass and see if we can learn the best way to keep it from jumping out of our hands. Now this might be more broken up in the way you say it than the way I just said it all, if you're helping her to calm down and waiting for her responses in between. But in saying all of that, you're communicating, one, that you recognize what happened and what she is feeling about it. Two, that what happened and what she is feeling makes sense. Three, you're helping her to develop meaning from it so her brain can file the situation accordingly. And four, You're helping her with both the solution to the immediate problem and how to prevent it from happening again, all while staying connected to her and strengthening your relationship. Of course, if she got hurt from the glass, you can take care of that first. And there are so many variables in any given situation that even the same occurrence might not require this same response. But this is an example that you can really apply to anything. So when you validate her experience and the resulting emotions, you're showing her that she is okay. Who she is, what she's experiencing, how she's feeling is something that is normal and good. It makes sense. It's part of being human. And it's a point of similarity between the two of you. And our children really learn and grow best in connection to us and to others. And you're also showing her what to do with her feelings, which we'll talk about more in the next class. But in this example, you're validating her emotions helps her to let them out, feel them, and recover, let them go. And then you're addressing the natural consequences of the chain of events that happened. The cup is broken and we can't use it anymore. In your response, you're also modeling responsibility by suggesting that you clean it up together, pointing out that this is what we need to do next. And here's the really cool thing about this. Even if she doesn't choose to clean it up with you, that's okay, because you're still teaching her something. That when a mess is made, it's okay. Someone still has to clean it up, though. You're not just cleaning it up yourself without saying anything, which might not make her aware of her own self-responsibility. And you're not forcing her to clean it up, which might only make her bitter and create limiting beliefs and disconnection. Instead, you're planting seeds, putting this idea of responsibility on her blueprint that will develop over time the more she sees it. And then it can be reinforced in all sorts of ways, like pointing out the way someone cleans tables at a restaurant, or how your actions affect others, picking up trash around the park, or talking about the way you recycle. It's amazing how the smallest ideas, grown over time, can become such life-giving qualities. Just because they aren't doing what you'd like them to do right now doesn't mean that they aren't learning to. Now you're also creating an opportunity to learn. So maybe next time she carries the glass with 2 hands instead of 1, or walks more slowly, or asks for help. You're empowering her to find something in this situation that she can use to grow and apply in the future. Kids are really great at coming up with these things when we let them, even without our suggestions. And this will serve her well to establish in her blueprint an ability to look for what she can learn in any given situation. There's so much going on in both our own minds and the minds of our children. And maybe you're thinking, there is no way I'm going to remember all that. That's a lot to have to say in any situation. And it is a lot. If you're not used to communicating in this way, it's a ton. But the more we understand about what's going on beneath the surface, and the more we put these things into practice, the easier it will get. It'll get rewritten in our blueprints. Even now, I can think of what to say pretty easily, but I still don't always say it. I react instead of doing what I know works better. I get angry and blame and say things I don't mean, because I'm human too and always growing. So when you forget, or when you react harshly or Realize that your child might have taken a meaning from your interaction that won't help them out in life. Just come back. Empathize with your own feelings. Man, I got really upset about that. It was super frustrating. And then go tell your child what you've realized. Repair that broken connection. Empathize with their feelings and validate their experience. Show them you saw what happened and include your reaction, how they felt about that, and what it added to the situation and how unhelpful it was. You might say, "You were just trying to show me that cool thing you made and I was not kind to you. I got upset about being interrupted and said things to you that weren't really true, and that was not your fault. I don't like the way I responded, and that's not the kind of parent I want to be. And I'd really like to work on my reaction to being interrupted so it doesn't keep happening. Would you be willing to show me what you made again so I can really see it this time?" We are all a work in progress. And one of the greatest things we can teach our children is that it's okay to be messy, to make mistakes, to be inconsistent, to be in process and to be learning. And then how to handle that, how to learn from it, how to take responsibility, make it right, and move forward. They are learning that by watching how you do it, not so much by how you tell them to do it. And the more you model yourself, what you want to see in them, the stronger that will become on their blueprint, and yours as well. Now, I want to mention on a practical level, empathy looks different for different people and depends on age and really just what a person prefers. Empathizing with a toddler might sound like, "Oh, you fell down and got hurt, ouch!" Whereas empathizing with an older child or adult may be a lot more complex. I've known people who feel heard and understood when someone simply repeats back what they say. So your teen says she feels betrayed because a friend let her down. And you say, "You're feeling betrayed because your friend let you down." Others like someone to reword what they say in their own language. It sounds like that was really painful for you to have your friend just totally disregard you. Or asking questions to see if you're understanding correctly. So you felt betrayed because you thought you were close and would have expected her to act in this other way, right? Now notice what you're not doing in any of these examples, and that's making it about you or trying to fix the problem or change their feelings. "I'm sure she didn't mean to do that," or, "Oh, this one time I had a friend who blah, blah, blah." Sharing your own experiences can be helpful, but not usually as the first thing that comes out of your mouth. The goal here, like we defined earlier, is to create an environment where it's possible for the other person to feel heard, seen, accepted, and understood. They may not be able to tell that you understand if you just try to compare their situation to your own, or even just say, "I understand." They may not feel heard or accepted if you're trying to tell them what they should do or how they should feel about it. Empathy isn't about agreement or solving a problem or teaching. You might not like what they're saying. You might think that what they're feeling is ridiculous. You might see something that they don't see. And if any further discussion needs to happen, it can happen later. But your first response should always be empathy. Why? Because empathy truly is magical. if your child comes to you with a problem, they're trying to get something to work and it's not. They're like, oh, this stupid thing isn't working. You could try to tell them what to do. Did you try this or do it like that? Have you ever noticed that sometimes offering a solution can make them even more agitated? And that's because they're not really looking for a solution. They don't want you to fix it. Now instead, if you say, wow, that sounds really frustrating, you've just empathized and validated their feelings. And this is why I say empathy is magic. Because just that can enable them to feel better and get back to solving their own problem the way they really want to. We can be so quick to jump in with an answer that we don't even stop to realize what is actually being asked of us. And it really is a disservice to our kids because we're not empowering them to use their own inner creative genius. We're making something our responsibility instead of waiting to see if the other person even wants us to. But when we pause to empathize first, then we can ask if they want help. Ask if they need something, if there's anything we can do. That does sound like a stressful day. Is there anything I can do to help you de-stress tonight? Or you can't get that container to open. Oh man, are you wanting to do that yourself or do you want me to help you? I want you to experiment this week. Take as many interactions as you'd like and try to make your first response empathy. And then wait. Wait to see what your child or partner or friend or coworker does next. Maybe they'll need more empathy. Give that. And then wait again. Maybe they'll ask for help. Maybe they'll just move on. I am really curious to hear what you notice. Just empathize and wait. Now, the Building Empathy worksheet is for you to look through in your own time to help you with analyzing what's going on in a situation so you can better empathize with others. So do that for your homework, practice empathy, and I will see you in the next class.